Hello, everyone. How are we all doing? Come on in, sit on down. Get yourself a nice hot cup of cocoa or hot chocolate, depending on which continent you come from. I have been kicked out of the living room by my wife, who's doing her own project, her own thing. So I'm sat in my freezing cold car with the engine running, trying to get myself warm. And I thought, you know what? Why don't I take this opportunity to have a quick surprise live stream with my subscribers? Let's get a bit of a Q&A going. Let's get some testimonies going. Let's hear people's opinions and stories and wants and needs and desires. Let's have a bit of fun. How are we all doing, guys? Let's just check the chat here. Let's see who we've got. We've got Melanie. Hello, Melanie. From Maine. Oh, well, thanks for being here. I appreciate it. We got Still Prill, who's excited that they made it. Excellent. We got Glast SST. Hello to you too. And Chris Shaw. There he is, giving me a bust. And is that a hang 10? Is that what that sign is? I don't know American sign language. Who knows? Does the wife understand the importance of your work? She is sick of hearing about clowns, but she knows it's important to me, so that's all that matters. But yeah, you think you guys hear a lot about clowns from me? Just imagine what she's got to deal with. Poor woman. Anyway, no, she understands it's important to me, so she just lets me get on with it. That's just fine. But no, I don't think she cares as much about the clowns as I do personally. No. Uh, JT follows JC. Hey, babe, thanks for being here. Yes, that's I don't want to get your name wrong. I'll just call you JT for now. But yeah, we've been having a bit of a back and forth, haven't we? And we've agreed to arrange to find a time to have a bit of a chat and get together. So I'm looking forward to that. And I actually watched one of your recent videos where you were talking about the origins of Lucifer and the differences between Satan and Lucifer with that nice young lady. I enjoyed listening to that today. I managed to find some time in between running errands to listen to it in the car. And pretty good stuff. I'd like to talk with you about that topic myself because I do feel like it's an area I'm pretty ignorant about. I'm not going to lie, I guess I considered the Paradise Lost story to be the truth, which is foolish of me, obviously, because and that's not exactly what the Bible says. So I'm looking forward to having you enlighten me about that particular topic there. But yeah, thanks for being here. Running Shelley, hello from Minnesota. Thanks for being here, Shelley. And Mrs. Hippie Hebrew. What a funky name. Thanks for being here. What's the temp there? It's 22 degrees Fahrenheit. Here, right now, it says it's 3 degrees Celsius. So it's just about to hit freezing. 0 is freezing for us. That's how it works. Although it can get pretty icy and frosty around around about 1 degrees. But yeah, 0 is considered freezing temperature for us, and it says my car temperature says it's at 3. I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty chilly, but I've had the engine running for a good 10 minutes, and it looks like the dial's moved a little bit, so I'm getting some warm air coming in, so I'm all right. I'm doing just fine. Once the engine's warmed up enough, I'll turn the engine off so it's not humming in the background. But I do have voice isolation on it. Everything's updated lately with Mac, and everything's in a strange place. But it does say a voice isolation is on in this weird little green tab at the top of my screen. So you shouldn't really hear much of the engine whirling, hopefully. Anyway, let's check the chat. What's going on? It looks like it's all just popped off all of a sudden. A lot of people have just said a lot of things. Let's see what's going on. I cannot wait for Genesis 6 Conspiracy Part 2, says Melanie. No, me either. Yeah, Gary Wayne's working hard on that. He's created what was it? This one's only got 88 chapters or something. I don't know. It's going to be another huge wedge, another huge doorstop. But I'm looking forward to getting my copy too. Absolutely exciting. It's an exciting time for books and conspiracy. Well then, give her a hug and a hello, and let her know her man is the shiz. Oh, she knows I'm the shiz. I don't need to tell her that. That's fine. But yeah, she's sick of the clowns, absolutely. As any of my mods who have interacted with her plenty of times here understands, and has perhaps listened to our own podcast, our husband and wife podcast, Tales Under the Big Top. I think links may be down below, but yeah, she's not as into conspiracy as I am, but she does keep me grounded. I'm not gonna lie, so I'm kind of thankful for that. Hello from Brazil, says Rico Stores. Well, hello, thanks for being here. MK Ryan. MK Ryan, I can't believe you do not have a little spanner next to your name there. What was I thinking? Let me just sort that out very quickly. MK Ryan, guys, if you didn't know, is my moderator on Telegram. He's my trusted right-hand man on there. and we do have a fun back and forth, dictating and controlling all the flow of information on that Telegram. So yeah, I'm going to give you a quick spanner now while you're here, so you can help make sure the people stay in line on this place as well, and obviously we can squash any dissent along the way like a true dictator does. So let me just quickly find how I do that on here, because I have totally lost track of how this works. Create, go live, manage. There you are. Click on that. Go to the chat. Make sure that pauses before it starts playing. Cool. And where are you? Where are you, MK? Right there you are. The picture of a man on fire. That's the guy. Add as moderator. It can be a standard moderator. That's all. I'm not going to give you full reins and keys to the castle, but you can be a standard moderator. There we go. Boom. That's done. Who else have we got then? We've got. I don't get to catch these often enough, says MK Ryan. Happy to be here, that's right. So guys, get your questions ready. If you have any questions for me, anything you want me to discuss, if you just want my take on any particular topic or event or thing that's happened, now's your chance to ask. And I'll just spiel whatever I think about that particular subject. Surprise me. I don't know. If you want to know more about the clowns, or want to iron out any particular thing you've heard me say about the clowns, now's your time to ask that question, and I will bounce it back to you guys. Right, it means gnarly and let's go, says Chris Shaw. Excellent. Let's go indeed. I love your channel, brother, says Andre Gomez. Oh, thank you. I appreciate the support. I really do. JC Follow says, oh yeah, absolutely. Brilliant. So we're going to have our talk. Armor Up's here. Great to have you here. If you guys don't know, about 3 or 4 months ago now, me and Armor Up there had our own little chat over on his channel. Go and check that out if you haven't already. It was a nice little talk, and it's good to see you here, man. It's good to see you. 32 is freezing here in North Wisconsin. Oh yeah, Britain doesn't get as cold as like North America, Canada. Not even close. We are wimps. We get not very hot summers, and we do get relatively cold and wet winters. But it's nowhere to the level of 6 foot tall snow and all that sort of stuff. We don't get that here. We like to moan about the weather, but we do have it relatively tepid and good here in realistic terms compared to the rest of the world. So it's just wet and grey most of the time. And our summers, our sun, our heat lasts maybe 2 weeks, and that's as much as we get, really. But yeah, I'm sorry to hear it's so cold there. That sounds awful. Right. Shalom, everyone, says Karam Yasharallah. Yasharallah. I probably butchered that. I'm sorry if I did, but thanks for being here. Vibes, good to see you. John and Nicole, hi everyone, thanks for being here. Good to see you all, yep. Do you think the CERN opening has anything to do with the clown sightings of 2016, says Still Prill? Well, it's interesting to say that, because someone pointed out to me that the Gothard Tunnel opening ceremony, do you guys remember that? The Gothard Tunnel opening ceremonies? Where, like, basically they had this weird portal-looking thing outside with, like, butterflies and eyes being projected all over it, and coming out of the portal with these half-human, half-hybrid beast monster creatures dancing all over the place in the mountains of, is it Switzerland, wherever Gothard Tunnel is? I'm not totally sure, something like that. And in the tunnel itself, it showed all these slave-class humans in chains pulling along this huge structure, which was also covered in flying demonic monsters and all this type of thing. Is it possible? Who knows? Because I think it's pretty much near CERN, isn't it, where the Gothard Tunnel thing was happening? Perhaps this was a symbolic sign or symbol to say we have opened the gateway to hell. Something like that, to be over dramatic about it. I mean, they made an incredibly dramatic show, didn't they, just for the opening of some stupid tunnel. So I don't know. Maybe it all coincides. Maybe the veil thinned at that period. Maybe they pierced that veil and created a gateway or a channel in some way to make the Nephilim have more of an easier time getting to the other side through possession means or channeling means. Maybe I can get on board with that. I'm game for that. I'm all for that kind of theorizing. That's cool with me. Maybe that is what happened. Who knows? Because it was just after that the 2016 clown sightings happened, and if that was a symbol, a symbolic message to the initiated, then what it was denoting was that the Nephilim are here. They've made it to our realm, and now they're standing on the corners of streets watching us. They are menacing and scaring people, and if the clown is a symbol created to represent and reference the Nephilim in their great media show they put on for us, then when they created the 2016 clown sightings phenomena and put the camera on it, they were telling the initiated, guys, the Nephilim are here. They're back. So maybe I'm all for that kind of thing. And maybe that's what was going on. Who knows? We can only theorize, guys, can't we? So let's keep theorizing. Yeah, let's do it. So let me just close this tab. I don't need this tab open now. I've got my everything I need on OBS these days. It's a lot better than it used to be. What have we got? We've got 69 people here currently. The chat rate's pretty good. The connection's excellent, though. It's not going to be perfect. Like I said at the start of this, if you missed it, I am sat in my car outside of the house with the router hub angled out the window to try and get it as close to me as I possibly can. But there is a giant bush between me and that window, so unfortunately the signal may drop here and there. It might not be perfect all the time, but it should be enough for us to stay connected. But good question. Thanks for asking that. Maybe. Lucifer is a Latin made-up name substituted for the Hebrew Hillel, says DKL. Yes, no, I understand that. It's more of a title than an actual name of something. Just like Satan means adversary, and it's possible there were many Satans during the time of, the entire biblical narrative. I understand that, and yeah, Lucifer, I believe, was the son of the morning star. And as JT follows JC there was talking about in his video, the son of the morning star, well, a morning star is an angel. So it's possible that if Lucifer was the son of an angel, then Lucifer may have likely been a Nephilim, offspring of an angel. It doesn't say who the mother was, though, does it? So we don't know. But I doubt angels mated together and created another angel. It's likely if it's the son of an angel, the morning star, then Lucifer is a Nephilim creature, likely of some kind, a very powerful one. But who knows? I'm not an expert on these type of things. I did naively always just assume Lucifer was a seraphim angel who was next to God. But it's perhaps that went by a different name, the one that rebelled, the one that fell from heaven. Perhaps their name isn't Lucifer. I don't know. The one that fell from heaven is the son of the morning. Is it? Is the morning star that fell? And the morning star's son was Lucifer. So perhaps that's what's going on. I don't know, it's complicated, it's convoluted. All I do know for certain, there was a rebellion, an angelic rebellion, and an attempt to corrupt mankind's genetics as a result. That did happen, regardless of names and tidbits and details. But maybe we'll start ironing out these details on the channel in the coming months. Maybe I'll get more guests on to talk about these concepts more, and maybe they can school me on this and let me know what's going on, because, again, I'm not a theological expert in any way. I know a thing or two, don't get me wrong. But I'm always ready to be corrected on stuff like that. But don't come at me with that Gnostic shit. I'm not interested. Anyway, let's keep going down. Yeah, it's froze. It's froze. What's going on here? Nick Martin has donated $5. Should we avoid all entertainment because it's all demonic forces behind it? How to watch it? It's a good question, Nick. I think we've all kind of battled with that concept. I don't have a sufficient answer for you. I mean, if I try to entertain people, I know I'm not doing anything particularly satanic and trying to lead people astray. So is watching me as a form of entertainment bad? I don't think so. So I think we do have to use our discernment and draw the lines where necessary. If it's on the TV, I would assume, yes, it's probably a part of the agenda in some way, because nothing goes on that black box in the corner of the living room that's broadcasted through the institutions that isn't controlled. So I would probably just turn off the television, stick to YouTube and the internet, and find your own entertainment and discern for yourself whether or not it's okay or not. Get the eyes to see and you'll know. Not everything's evil. I don't live in a world where every single thing is just evil all the time. But it is good you're asking that question. It means you're keeping your eye out for the deceptive things, and that's all we can really do. But no, we're human beings. we like to have a break every now and then and just be entertained for a little bit, you know, and just have a bit of fun. We like to have fun, you know, not we don't want our entire life to be nothing but misery all the time, do we? But again, just keep your wits about it. Use your discernment, okay? Use your discernment. But it's good you're asking those type of questions. But my advice would be if it's created from the mainstream industry and it's in that box in the corner of the room, switch it off. Probably not good for your mind. Do you think that CERN has anything to do with the clouds that have been there? 27 in Ohio here, says Kim Masters. So it's pretty cold everywhere, eh? It's that time, isn't it? It all just kind of dropped in the past week, hasn't it? The temperature's just suddenly gone. That nice, warm autumn feeling has just it drops through the floor now. It's nothing but ice and cold and misery, isn't it? Yeah, absolutely. Logos Focus. You see the new 9/11 iceberg, anyone? No, I've not. When you look back, can you quickly say what do you think about blank and blank blank? Okay, Glassed SST, I cannot talk about that subject without being seriously punished for it on YouTube. So I'm not even going there. But if anyone's read his question and knows what he's talking about, obviously it's a huge, controlled attempt to probably kill everybody evil thing that's happening in the world right now. Yes. Have you ever heard of Christian identity? No, I've not. Should I have heard of that? Could you elaborate, Sean? And maybe I can give you more information. Humble Stranger, hello, lovely people. Hi, Humble. Thanks for being here. Jumbo Johnson, what is the easiest way we can get in touch with you to share imagery, animations inspired by Colrophilim? Colrophilim. Is that your way of saying the fear of Nephilim clowns? Yeah, the best way to get in touch with me directly and send any form of media is Telegram. I have a group. The link should be in the description. You can join the Telegram group. We have about 500 people in there already. It's broken up into sections. There's even a clown subsection in that Telegram group. And I'm on there all the time, chatting back and forth with everybody. We have a nice little community, a good back and forth. And if you want to share anything at all that you find, that's the place to go, Jumbo Johnson. So join the Telegram, guys, if you haven't already. That's where you can share all the stuff, all the things you find. I copped a Jerusalem Holy Bible published in '66. It's got 73 books, 7 more than the Protestant canon. Yeah, you know, I mean, I personally, I'm into the whole extra biblical text stuff as well, you know, and there's many canons throughout history, as Alpha Talks likes to talk about as well. So you know, I'll take it all and I'll drop the chaff and I'll keep what's necessary. But yeah, the canons are definitely varied throughout history, that's for sure. Do you believe these mandated blanks are a link to Nephilim DNA being inserted, as in the days of Noah? Maybe. I don't know. A lot of people are saying stuff like that, aren't they? But I'm dubious to play that game. So I don't know. I didn't invent the thing, and I'm not a microbiologist and can't examine what's in the thing and certify anything. So what do I know? Music is entertainment. Entertainment used by shamans to induce trance. Music is the doorway to a realm of no personal control and essentially allows the individual to immerse in a world of usury, says Chris S. That's one hell of a way of describing music, but yes, that does happen in the mainstream realm, certainly. And yes, shamans have always used music as a means to achieve that state of meditation. Just that's what the singing bowls are about as well, and the gongs and things like that. It's about riding the wave of the sound frequency to tune yourself out and obviously tune into that spirit astral realm form of travel, as well as reach a state of no thought and or meditation, which is to clear the mind and to be empty. You know, and I used to be into all that stuff myself a long time ago. But then I realised, you know, it's not necessarily an evil practice, but what is on the other side and what you may end up communicating with is. So that's kind of our issue. But yeah. Chris Shaw, has anyone approached you to shut you up because of this content? Also, Conspiracy R Us is the cat who turned me and mine onto your stuff. He gave you full credit back in the day. Yeah, he did. So two-part question. Has anyone tried to shut me up because of this content? Yes, actually, it has happened before. You may or may not know, but in 2017, I'd had the channel for a good 3 years. I was in full swing into my Nephilim Clown series up to episode 17, I think, or something like that, episode 16 maybe. And my workplace, I worked at Aldi at the time as a manager, had found the channel because some little snitch from the old store I used to work at decided to tell the staff at my new store, where I was becoming a manager for the first time, and that, oh, I used to work with Paul, he's got a YouTube channel, you know, and all that sort of stupid shit. And then the managers found it, and everything, yeah, it was taken away from me. They basically said to me, you cannot be a manager and have this YouTube channel saying these controversial things. If some member of staff finds the channel and gets offended by anything you say, we are not going to be able to defend you. This is a multicultural, diverse company, and your views may be considered offensive to other people. And at this point, I'd worked too hard to get to the position I was in. I was heavily in debt from university. I was, and in a moment of weakness, I shut down the channel. I was in no position to lose my job at all. And for 5 years, I was a manager earning good money, and I just didn't make a video, and everything went to unlisted and hidden. I didn't get rid of the channel or delete. I had to delete some stuff immediately in an attempt to try and have both, but they weren't having any of it. So I basically unlisted everything and hid the channel for 5 years. And, it wasn't my proudest moment. I'm not going to lie. I gave into fear, and never again. I'm never going to let anybody make me feel that weak and small ever again, especially not over this. I am not a manager of a supermarket. I am a conspiracy theorist. This is what I do. This is who I am, and no one's going to take that away from me ever again. So anyway, in 2020, yes, Conspiracy R Us revived the subject. He started talking about it on his channel. And he, like you said, he was explaining to me, yeah, this guy I used to follow on YouTube, he disappeared. He had this theory about the clowns, and then he made his own series about it based on that. And uh, everyone was talking about the Nephilim clowns again. I was like, oh, wow, my work is appreciated, So I thought, well, the heat's died off a little bit now, so I guess I'll make the clowns series visible again. I'll change it from unlisted to public. And I did that, and nobody kind of, got in the way. Nobody noticed. And then, from 2020 to 2022, those 2 years, I had a nightmare at the workplace. I ended up getting accused of theft while trying to work at a different store to be promoted to assistant manager and all these other things to get a promotion. But that manager hated me. She was a sexist who only wanted women to be promoted. So she did everything she could to make me look bad and said I was terrible at the job when I was not terrible at the job. Everywhere else I'd worked thought I was the best at the job. So, but then she accused me of theft as like a last ditch effort to try and get rid of me. So I got suspended while my wife was in her third term of being pregnant. The stress that put on our family was just hell. But then I proved myself innocent, kept the job, moved back to my old store. But then the sour taste never left my mouth. And then I got attacked by a member of the public for not serving them alcohol. And then I just had enough and I quit. That was it. I was done. I was like, I am not doing this anymore. What the hell? I do not need to be attacked at work by drunks who don't want I can't serve the 6 bottles of Newcastle Bloody Brown because they have their 2 clearly underage teenage daughters with them. It's like, I am not doing that. I am not dealing with this. And then that woman who kicked off and screamed in my face went to the newspaper, accused us. It just became an absolute mess. Honestly, I was sick of it. And I just quit. Me and my wife looked at each other and we were like, what are we doing? Like, we hate this job. We hate these people. They've treated us like nothing but crap. They've taken everything away from us. And I just said, I can't do it anymore. And we both agreed. Let's just have a go at being our own bosses. Let's start our own company. Let's be photographers. Let's be artists, because that's what we are. And here I am, exactly a year later from quitting. I started up the YouTube channel again in just before January. Just before the new year in 2023, and I came back hard. And I've been making videos non-stop since then. I've built my community up. I've gained about 15,000 subscribers. This channel has grown exponentially. and the Nephilim clown theory is back, you know, and I picked up where I left off and just started doing my own thing, irregardless of what anyone else had done, and here I am, you know. But yes, I was silenced for 5 years, and I didn't stop being awake. You know, I just had to retreat back into the world and observe, you know. And in ways, I'm thankful for that time. Don't get me wrong, you know, it taught me a lot. I learned a lot about managing people and what it means to be a manager, a good manager, you know, and how to gain people's respect and trust. You know, I learned what it meant to be a bad manager through examples of people around me, narcissistic, psychopathic, petty little Hitlers, you know, who want to gain a little bit of power and control. And I wasn't all about that, so I was stepped on basically because perhaps I was too nice. But I learned a lot through the process, you know. And I think maybe God gave me that time to grow up, refine myself. I took some personal time to not get into the conspiracy world anymore and to work on myself. You know, I moved out of my parents' house, met somebody, you know, got married, have a kid, have my own place that we rent now. You know, my life is a lot better than what it was those 5 years ago. I managed to save a lot of money, deposits for a house. We tried to get a house, it failed miserably, lost all the money. Ups and downs, you know how life goes. Um, Thanks to you know, that huge global event that happened, the housing market boomed, and I was suddenly priced out of being able to buy a house. And then when we did get a house, we got the result back from its analysis, and it turns out it was an absolute death trap we couldn't move into. And by that point, we'd already invested like 4 grand into the process, and it was just a nightmare, you know. Um, so I'm priced out of the housing market. That was the end result of everything, basically, is what I learned. Houses are too expensive now for people my age to buy a house. So I'm starting from scratch. But other than that, you know, now I have my own business. My YouTube channel's in full swing. I'm free to say what I want to say and be who I want to be. And I thank God for every second of that, you know. I think in a way, the last few years of hell at that workplace was God's way of getting me to leave. It was his way of pushing me out of that place to tell me, you know, Paul, I did not create you to waste your life stacking shelves and ordering around other people to stack shelves. Get out there and tell people about the bloody Nephilim clowns, for God's sake. Get out there. I think that's kind of what happened in a way. Um, but who knows? Maybe I'm just talking bollocks, but it's. I look back at it all and I find it all, in retrospect, in hindsight, um, what seemed like hell at the time was perhaps for my own good in the long run, you know. And this is the God works in mysterious ways, you know. You never know, do you? But there you go. To answer your question in an extremely long, drawn-out way, yes, I was silenced, and yeah, thanks to Conspiracy Arrows for you know, what's the word? Defibrillating the theory, bringing it back from the dead or something like that. Certainly, absolutely, everyone played a role in that, and I'm thankful for it. What's going on? What's going on? Just seen there's a movie called Jester in 2023. Yeah, someone sent me a link for that. Of course there is. Shock, horror, you know, yeah. That fits in with my next video nicely, actually. You'll see a quick mention of that movie in my next video coming out for the clowns. I just need to finish it off, and I'll probably be releasing that one at the start of next month. But yeah, it's basically a retrospect look back at the past 10 years of clown symbolism in the media. And the new Jester film is on that list, absolutely. Have you ever heard of Christian Identity? You know, we've answered that question. We've answered about the canon. Has anyone tried to shut you up? Do you think that CERN opening has anything to do with clowns? Have we done that one? Ohio is 25 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm sorry to hear that. What's the museum in Europe with all the giant bones called? Started with I think. I didn't know there was a museum in Europe with giant bones. No one's ever told me that. Um, but it's the Smithsonian in America who stole all the giant bones, but I don't know about one in Europe. That's new to me. I couldn't believe J.R. Tolkien was an editor and apparently translated the Book of Tobit. Oh, I didn't know that either. Um, 27 right now in PA. Does England use heat pumps? I'm not sure what a heat pump is, though, Melanie. You might have to explain that to me a bit more. Anthony, servant of Jesus and God, says, "Hey Paul, do you write off everything essentially other than Christianity? I've been getting quite a few explanations outside of the Bible that were perhaps purposely omitted or declared heresy. Do you write off everything essentially other than Christianity? I've been getting quite a few explanations outside of the Bible that were perhaps purposely omitted or declared heresy." I'm not sure what you mean there, but I consider all mythologies and religions as a part of human history. But I fit them into the context of the biblical narrative, and I can see that the Bible has referenced pretty much all of them and explained where they come from and why we have such a varied religious, pagan, monotheistic variations, and why there are so many different gods, false gods, I would call them, little g's, and why there are so many strange philosophies that exist that may not involve gods in any way, but certainly purport one to think they are a god. And I look at all ancient history, whether it be, African, Indian, the Vedic histories, or Australian histories of the rainbow serpents, or North and South American histories of the thunder, the Thunderbirds, whatever it is, even European history, of the dragons and the ancient pagan Celtic understandings of the gods and the pantheons of Greece, and, the Norse mythologies of the Vikings and the northern Teutonic regions, all the mythologies of China with the dragons who built the earth and the mountains and all these type of things. I look at them all and I understand that, yeah, all these things did happen and the people of the regions did perceive them to be happening in such a way. But I think the vast variation and changing of the gods and their purposes and names and what they did, that you find that actually there's a lot more similarities between them than there are differences. And I do think a lot of them were ruling over different peoples of different regions, playing different games, but they were all fundamentally fallen angels and Nephilim having fun with us, messing with us. And just because you come from a culture which was involved with one of these things in the ancient past doesn't mean your culture is special, unique, or for any actual matter of a fact, true. It's likely just like all the other ones, you were lied to by those beings, those gods, about who they truly were, and we shouldn't so readily believe that what they said was the truth, whether that's your Hindu religion or your Norse religions or your pantheons of Greece or whatever it is. You should not take those gods' words at face value, because you'll find that they all kind of follow very similar patterns with each other. They weren't very good in any way, shape, or form. They were quite hedonistic, selfish, self-centered, and brutal and cruel towards humans. And I think the Abrahamic story, the story of the lineage of Jesus through Genesis and the Apocryphas, and obviously this book of Enoch, explains it clearly what God's true intention was and how it was corrupted and how he ended up with all these narratives. But take every story for what it is within context, and obviously I found the answers and the truth do lie in the biblical narrative, but I know, because I get all the comments. There are thousands, hundreds of thousands, not millions of people out there who think I'm an absolute fucking idiot for thinking that. And I clearly have a stupid, naive, backwards brain who can't comprehend deep concepts like the Gnostic, Gnosis, Theosis mind can understand, and I just need to catch up with their level of big brain thinking. I've heard it all before, whatever, using, I don't know, 120 words, a lovely word salad to say absolutely nothing. And but from what I have found, yes, the biblical narrative is the truth, and yes, there have been certain parts of that particular story which have been purposely removed, like I would say the Book of Enoch, which do put into perspective a lot of what was happening in the supposed main 66 book canon that we're supposed to only go by the Protestant standards. But no, I do think every story of every culture is telling us a piece of human history. I don't just discount them, I listen to them, but I fit them in within the context of what was explained in the biblical narrative. That's how I do it, and I would recommend other people give it a go, and you'll be surprised. It does seem to all click quite nicely and make perfect sense. Um, so yeah, Christopher Clay. I don't know if that answers your. Sorry, was it Christopher? No, Anthony. Hopefully that answers your question. Now, Christopher Clay seems to have some kind of question as well. I've been diving into Christianity and consider myself a new young Christian. Wondering if you have any views on the Council of Nicaea and the Holy Trinity. I not really. I wouldn't call myself a massive expert on that. So I wouldn't hazard to get too much into that historical stuff. Though it is something I've briefly learned years ago when I first became, about who created the original canons and what is the right story. And people argue over the Holy Trinity and the Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost. Is Jesus a triune God? Is he many gods? Is God one, or is Jesus God, or is he the Son of God? And all these questions and answers. Um, from what I have gathered, I think it's one of those things that's supposed to be confusing. Okay, on purpose. It's like Jesus is God, but he is also the Son of God. I think it's a psychedelic, weird, trippy thing that we cannot really comprehend from our perspective within this lesser, non-heavenly dimension. So I put it on my shelf of wonder, and I don't consider it a salvation issue. I just believe that Jesus Christ is the Son of God and died and rose again for the sins of humanity. Okay, and as long as you believe this, you will be saved. That's the basic. Get that down. Don't sweat all that stuff. Although it's fun to think about, don't get me wrong, but don't let it confuse you. You know what I mean? I did symbolism on them by me in cemeteries. What's with that? I don't know what's with that, mythology. You should look into it yourself. That sounds trippy. Um, yes, that ceremony, goat demon. I don't know what's going on there. Oh, sorry, the chat just jumped away from me. I think I have lost a lot of stuff. I question everything. Screw Aldi, go artists. Thanks, Mythology. Thanks for the support. Sorry guys, the chat kind of just skipped ahead and I've missed loads of stuff, so I'm just trying to scroll back to catch up with everyone. I do want to get to all your questions. I'm really far behind. I might just have to skip and to catch up with you guys. To be honest, I think I've got much of a choice. These chats have got a lot bigger than when I first started, so I am struggling a lot more to answer everybody's questions. So I am just skipping over stuff. JT follows JC says I recently watched an episode of Supernatural, and it was about a killer clown, and they connected this killer clown with the Rakshasa. Have you made this connection? You are joking me, aren't you, JT? Are you actually joking me? Is that a real thing in Supernatural? Did that actually happen? Like, be honest with me right now. I'm going to go right back down to the bottom of the chat. I want you to communicate with me, person to person. Is that literally a plot point of Supernatural that the killer clown monster demon was a Rakshasa of Bali and Hindu mythology? Is that for real? Is that actually what happened? Because if that is the case, I have my last video in the Nephilim Clown series, episode 42, was specifically about the Rakshasa demons. Okay, it was specifically about the Rakshasa demons and how the original clown costume created in the 1800s, which changed the original costume of the white, boring clown into the psychedelic monster, was modeled after Rakshasa demons specifically. And that's a connection I made without any help. It was just obvious to me through my own research. And you're saying Supernatural literally has an episode about that already. Like that. Call it synchronicity or what, but that is just stupid. Yes, they are connected to Rakshasa demons through and through. The original clown costume, which was created in the 1800s for a play by Charles Dibdin called Peter Wilkins and the Flying World, the clown costume was modelled after Rakshasa demons of Bali, specifically. Yes. I think the Nephilim built the pyramids. Says too much information. Possible, certainly. Armor up, understanding the conspiracy. I've been keeping you in my prayers, brother. If I may ask, how's your health going? Ah, yes, a health update. I might as well tell you guys while I'm here. So if anyone was following my health over the past few months, I have had some random episodes of excruciating chest pain, stomach pain, stabbing pains, randomly in my entire body. All sorts of horrible stuff going on, digestion problems. I've been waking up every morning feeling like my blood is poison. Like the blood coursing through my veins is killing me. That's the only way I can describe the feeling of the agony I've been feeling waking up some mornings. Some mornings, not all of them. Anyway, I started the investigation into this maybe 3 months ago, and blood tests and scans, all sorts of things, and it showed I had high iron in my blood. So after a few more tests and scans of nothing coming up, trips to the hospital after having shooting pains in my chest, showing absolutely no reason for it to be happening, and being sent home, being told basically I'm making it up and I'm crazy by the doctors 3 times now over the past year. I finally got my results back from a test to find out if I have hemochromatosis, a genetic hereditary condition, which basically means my body cannot break down iron in my blood. Normally, the liver just breaks it down and gets rid of it and processes it naturally from foods. Apparently, I have a condition. The test results came back yesterday. I have a condition called hemochromatosis. I cannot get rid of iron in my blood, and therefore I am at risk of my internal organs developing pieces of metal in them, which is the iron condensing and coagulating in certain spots within my liver and my kidneys and my heart. Um, so that may explain why I've been having these random stabbing and or chest pains over the past years. Damage may already have been done because of this. Who knows? More tests will need to be done now. But they've done the genetic marker test and they have discovered that I do have the genetic trait in me, the specific marker that says I do have hemochromatosis. And the only way you can get hemochromatosis is if both parents have a specific gene. One has to have one gene, the other has to have another. And when the two parents have a child, those genes come together and then give the child hemochromatosis. So neither of my parents have it, but I do, because I got both of the genes, which lock together and create the problem. So yes, there's the recent update. I do have it. I do have this illness. And luckily, I'm quite young. I'm only 31, so they've managed to catch it early in life. Normally, people catch this in the late 40s, early 50s, because they start having serious problems. Serious health problems, because nothing was ever done about it. Luckily, because we've caught it early, it's highly unlikely any major damage has been done to my organs, so I shouldn't need any organ transplants. Fingers crossed. But, you never know. But what it means is we can start treatment, which is basically my blood has to get drained. And it's to get the iron out of my blood, they have to just remove the blood from my body with the iron in it and let my body reproduce fresh hemoglobin without that high iron content, which then would stop the deposits. And then I will have to regularly go to the hospital every 2 months or 3 months to have a couple of pints of blood removed just to keep the iron levels down to avoid any organ damage. But basically doing that will guarantee that I won't have any major health problems growing up into the future. Doing that regularly will stop organ damage and basically not cure it because it's hereditary, it can't go, but it will stop the symptoms. It'll stop the pain in the morning where my blood feels like poison killing me after I had a steak the night before. Things like that. Flare-ups, they call them, apparently when you have too much iron the day before and your body tries to process it, you end up feeling like absolute shit. So all of it's been explained that I have this problem. So there you go. That's my health update. That's where I'm at. And yeah, I'll have to be careful with my diet now. Obviously, there's loads of other things that come with it. Apparently, vitamin C makes you hold on to more iron, so that's something I have to have much less of as a result. This isn't ideal because I love oranges and I love steak. So I'm God has a funny sense of humor. What can I say? But it is what it is, and I'm just glad we found it early. And I have a consultation next week with my doctor to start with the next steps to get it all sorted, basically. But there we go. That's it. That's where I'm at. So, okay, I ranted on for a bit. Looks like everyone's been talking. Let's see what's going on. I got a super chat from Shattering Delusions. $20, thank you. It says, your thoughts on this? Ancient Jewish tradition states that night stars represent God's angels. Catholic faithful suggested black holes represent fallen angels. Is there really any coincidence celebrities are called stars? Yeah, I do think I had this episode come out a while ago called it's Angels, Dragons, and Creation. I called it, and it's this idea that it talks about the role of dragons throughout human history and the things they do and how God would have used them as creation, things that have a job to play within God's creation. So they don't create anything themselves, but I think angels are kind of like a cog created within God's creation, and they have a certain role to play to make the whole machine of reality happen. Okay. And I think the rebellion of the angels is when a lot of these angels left their allotted spot. They left the place they were supposed to be to make reality what it was. Okay, what it should be by God's standards. And that's why the rebellion was so crazy. You know, that's why I think it changed reality a lot when these angels left their estate. They left the place that was allotted to them. And I think obviously the wandering stars are angels who left their place, and we call them planets, don't we, today? And if you go off the biblical story, and if stars are actually angels who are just staying put where they're supposed to be, keeping their course as God ordained them to for signs and seasons by His clock and His design, well, the wandering stars are angels who moved out of their spot. And it's funny because you consider angels have always, well, the pantheons of gods, shall we say, and especially Greek and Roman gods, have all been associated with planets. They have a planet counterpart, don't they? And is it possible that, the worship of the planet is literally a worship of the fallen angels who left their allotted place? Now, obviously, not all the fallen angels mated with women. That was Samyaza, Azazel, and the crew, who did all that. But some angels who didn't mate with human women are still out there. They never got locked. They never got bound in chains. And I do think these are the planets. Probably, if you want to go off the biblical perspective, that's my speculation on the whole concept. But stars, as far as I'm aware, by biblical narrative, in an enclosed system, yes, they are angels. Um, they they are a part of creation thoroughly. They are a consciousness within things. It's possible they are the trees. It's possible they are the oceans, the rivers. Angels are the hills and the grass and the flowers and they are everything. They're in everything. They have a place to be to make it function in a way. And when a third of the angels fell or rebelled against God, a third of God's creation became corrupt as a process. And that was a part of the corruption process, as well as what Adam did as well, and then what Cain went on to do, and then what the Watchers went on to do. It just became one giant mess. And it's, again, I'm getting relatively speculative, but I think there's biblical basis and grounds for this being true. But what this means exactly in terms of physical manifestations in the world, it's hard to say. But I do think the original fall, the original rebellion, was an extremely psychedelic time for visual perceptions of reality for mankind. I think if the rebellion even happened when mankind was around, maybe it happened just before. I think the Vedic texts in Hindu mythology, the Vedas, I think they're talking about a time before man, when the gods warred against one another. I think that's the Angelic War, the rebellion, the initial rebellion. Um, that's Gary Wayne's theory that these stories even predate man themselves. These are wars between the gods. So who knows? Who knows? But good question. It's good to think about it. And yes, there's no coincidence that they call celebrities stars. It's likely they are the new gods, the new idols for people to worship in the modern day. Just like the pantheon of gods, the fallen angels of the past were worshipped as idols, as gods. So yes. Good question, though. Good question. Zolodius, do you have much experience in the esoteric? Do you? Blah, blah. Okay, coincidence theorist is here, everyone. Thanks for being here. Coincidence theorist, I love your passion. I like having you around, but I will say now, you do comment a lot. Okay. This is not me. I'm not having a go, but I will say maybe pull it back a bit, all right? Because I don't want the feed to be too spammed. Um, but I'm listening. I'm reading your comments. But thanks for being here either way. But you do comment a lot, okay, buddy? So maybe may consider just easing it off a little bit. All right. Ryan, Isolation is helpful with reading the Bible and always reflecting on your sins and reflection on how would Jesus handle the situation. I do find a moment alone is the best way to get your thoughts together for sure, especially when it comes to prayer and getting focused on the right track with God. Um, quiet contemplation, a time to think. I'm not one of those people who prays in public. I'm very much a pray in my own time, behind closed doors, away from people type of person. Um, I, I feel like the public pray thing is too showy for me as a person, and this is coming from the guy who makes a living basically talking online in front of hundreds of people. But you know what I mean. I know it's alright for some, but for me personally, I just feel I get a braggy feeling about it when I see people doing it. I don't like it personally. I get it, but sometimes when people make a right show out of praying in public, I feel like it's more for them than it is to have a conversation with God. It's more to make them look good than it is to edify faith. So I don't know. I pray silently on my own, behind closed doors, away from people. That's where I do my prayer. And that's how I do it. Anyway, the knight picture up. I just picture the dude as the knight in Monty Python's movie getting all his limbs chopped off. Yeah, this is but a scratch. Absolutely. Yeah, funnily enough, this thumbnail, actually, I did use it on a previous live show. But I had to take that live show down for behind the scenes reasons. So I got rid of it anyway, and I'm not wasting a thumbnail, so I've used it again for this one. I like this one. I think this one's hilarious personally. This is with the help of AI, but it is my prompts. I did sculpt this myself. I added the knight in first, then I added a spear into his arms and a sword in the other one, and I put a sword in the clown's arm as well. I think it was. I'm not sure who gave me the original images of the clowns. But I've had these for a while. Someone sent them to me in an email ages ago. Was like, my wife is here. Yep. Fun fact: he has high iron, and I have low iron. I wonder what our son will get. Who knows? We'll have to do some tests. Hemochromatosis. You need leeches. Yeah, basically. Yeah, I need to have my blood drained. Give blood regularly. Thing is, I can't give blood because my blood has too much iron in it. It would be dangerous to other people. So that's the problem now. Unfortunately, I can't give my blood. Zarlodius, you're over it. I feel like I've got a relatively decent enough balance going. I'm enjoying doing these things, and at the end of the day, this is work for me. This is my job. Obviously, I'm a photographer as well. It's the quiet season. You don't get much work during winter, unfortunately, and this is what I need to do to put food on the table for my family, So I try and create content and I gain ad revenue. And obviously, I have my patrons, my support. I get book support as well, and I'm writing the book. So I feel like I'm just working as much as anybody else would to make a living. Yeah. I think I was overdoing it a couple of months ago. I had a lot going on then, and I was still going hard at the YouTube, and I do think I suffered a lot then. But this month, I feel good. I feel good about it. Uh, Prayers for you, Paul, says Pamela. Well, thank you. Sean, you'd asked me to explain Christian identity. It is the belief that the ancient Israelites were white and Europeans are the descendants. Read John 8:44. Christ says the Father is the devil. Okay, I'm not touching that with a 10-foot barge pole. Paul, raw milk, drop the sugars like carbs, more animal pastured raised protein. This is the problem, Pyro33. High protein stuff like cows, for example, have a lot of iron in them. that's my that's my issue. Like I love steak. I have a heavy meat diet. I already have it. I don't. What can I do? Do you need specific diet or still okay for the hemochroma? Well, apparently, if as long as I'm having my blood drained regularly, I can still eat whatever I want. They say I shouldn't have to change my diet necessarily, but it would be advised that I avoid high iron content like high grains and cereals, for example. So maybe it would be smart for me to leave that out of it. He can't. His iron is too high right now. Yeah, everything's a more slippery slope than we would like to admit, says Love Tivertov. Yeah, fair enough. That's true. It's dark. I developed. Well, sorry, it's just jumped all over the place again. Sorry. Every now and then it skips to the bottom of the chat and I start losing everything. I've got to scroll back up to try and figure it out. At least you know what the problem is now, and you can proceed forward from there, says Armor Up. Exactly, yeah, it's good. It's good that I know now. And yeah, take ferritin, says Jana McCall. I think that won't make a difference to me. It literally, there's nothing I can do to stop my iron levels rising up. Just literally, my body just does not know. It's been switched off. That thing that breaks iron down in the liver and gets it out of your body naturally just doesn't exist in me. It's been switched off, so I can't. There's no pill. There's no magic pill that can help me, or anything like that. I either drain my blood regularly and get the iron straight out of my body, or it builds up and I get organ failure. There's no in between. That's basically it. That's my life now. Um, which is fine. Whatever. As long as at least I have a solution. I'm happy I have a solution. Interesting about the genes because my liver disease are the same genetically. Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that, Kanga Kong. To be honest, Kanga, though, I feel like you have it way worse than me. So don't feel sorry for me. I'm all right, guys. I am okay. I've had a rough time of it, but at least I finally have some answers. At least you know what to do. Yeah. I have to be in maintenance before being allowed to give blood. Yeah, exactly. And I'm not quite there yet. Dude, I promise you'll be helped by grounding, earthing massively. It's way too cold to be grounding myself with barefoot lately. That ain't gonna be happening. Agreed on the blood thing. Never give blood unless you see it go from your arm into a loved one. Prayers, Paul, says Wendy. Thank you. I fell for you, Paul. I totally understand how liver disease affects people. We have back-to-back appointments now for all three. But yeah, oh, whatever that may be. So next week we're all in and out of hospitals. My son is relatively all right though. His isn't too major. It's something we've been dealing with for a while, and hopefully we'll have more answers by next week about what's going on. It could be nothing though, but we're just being extra cautious. So anyway, let's catch up with the chat here, see what's going on. I hope you guys can still hear me, by the way. It looks like the signal's not going too strong right now where I am in the car. For some reason, it looks like it may be dipping in and out. So I do apologize if it's not doing well. And I will say to my wife, if you're streaming something or watching something, please stop it. That's what I'll say. What's going on here? It's possible that her watching this show right now is causing it to slow down. Okay, this needs to chill out. I imagine fasting helps the body to reset itself. They do another good fasting, definitely. They call celebrities stars and worship them. They certainly do. I hope you have great physicians helping you. It's the NHS, humble stranger. We get what we get. We don't know. I'm so sorry Paul is going through this. I have a couple tips. I'll email him when I feel better. Thanks, Kanga. I appreciate that. Your guys must love you. I couldn't take it for 5 minutes, so I'm sorry. A good line of questioning for myself is Lucifer. A good line of questioning for myself is Lucifer Nephilim, if he is the son of the morning star, the son of the angel of who we call the morning star. And if that is the case, who is the morning star? And who did he mate with to create Lucifer? And then who exactly? There are some questions, I suppose. I don't know. I'm always learning something new. Something will happen, no doubt. But I'm not sure what my unanswered questions are exactly. Things just always come to me when I need to know them, I suppose. And I'm always looking forward to learning something new. Don't get me wrong. So let's find out. Keep an eye on this channel. I'm sure something will come up. Real butter, not vegetable oil butter. Yeah, I eat real butter. Absolutely. We unsalted, real, natural butter is what we use. I don't go for the margarine stuff. Keeping your whole family impressed. Prayer is personal, absolutely. Coincidence. If I keep it one single thread in the comments, I see no issue. No, that's fine. Yeah, if you do it all in one thread on a comment section, that's fine. But when we're in the chat like this, let's try not to just spam, because the algorithm might take you out if you do that as well. It's not always us who do stuff like that. YouTube picks things like that up and just stops people from being able to comment or people seeing their comments. It does it itself. So it's actually friendly advice more than anything. You know, if you have a point to make or many points, try and get as many as you can in one comment and maybe wait 30 seconds before making another comment. Because the algorithms do pick up on those type of things and they'll think you're a bot and they will ban you. All right. And I will never know that happened to you. Do you know what I mean? So just be careful. All right. Um, um, Celebrities are kind of like dogs, don't you think? They follow commands, and celeb is dogs in Hebrew. Oh, interesting. I didn't know celebs is dogs in Hebrew. That makes sense. Yeah, yeah, that's a good connection. Interesting. Thanks for sharing that. Um, Have you read any of David Icke's books? And if so, what do you feel about what he says? I think he has a lot of truth about the control of the world and how the evil controllers do things in the evil controlled media. But then he spins a whole new age consciousness expansion lie at the end. So it's a bit of truth with one little lie which ruins the lot. He's nothing but a new age propagandist. I don't trust him. Don't trust his words. He is not telling you the truth. He has some truth, yes, but his solution is the problem. The New Age theosophy is not going to save you. Um, Old Clowny about to get the job, yeah. Hello everyone, just got out of class right now, says wedding photographer, thanks for being here. I wonder if current weapons would stop these things now. Well, if you want to go off of the Giant of Kandahar story, yes. A few 50 caliber bullets to the face will drop one of these giants. But it's highly speculated as to whether or not that even actually happens, so who knows. And how to live because their skulls are really thick like armor plating, but yes, I think we could take them down with enough firepower, absolutely. They weren't immortal. Their bodies could heal very fast though, that's what I am aware of. Wolverine style. Why is the plant-based diet the only diet shown to reverse heart disease, I wonder? Oh, I do wonder. If you're eating meat, you're also eating parasites and hormones. Yep, we've all seen the footage of the piece of pork with a bit of coke on there and all the parasites coming out. Yep. Ferritin is the enzyme that breaks down iron. You can get it as a supplement, says Jano. I'll look into it. I'll look into it. I think they do say they give ferritin to people who have hemochromatosis if they can't have the blood drained. That seems to, but they do say it's not that effective compared to having the blood drained. It's kind of the best they've got if you are not allowed to have your blood drained for other reasons, for other health reasons. But ideally, draining the blood is the most fastest, effective, useful way to avoid any organ damage. The ferritin takes too long and it could actually cause more damage than if you just had your blood drained. So they give it to people who can't have the blood drained as a last resort. But I imagine ferritin is a good enzyme to have for people who to take as a daily supplement. Um, once you've had the blood drain to keep the levels down, that might be a good idea. Certainly, Jana, but it's not. It's certainly not a cure. It's not a fast enough effective cure, from what I've researched. I have heard of ferritin before. Um, get prebiotic for your guts. Yeah, that's true. I keep buffering. Yeah, guys, like I said, I don't think the signal's too strong right now. I'm sorry about that if it is dropping out. How long have I been going for? I've been going for just over an hour, so I might start winding this up soon. Get your last questions in, guys. I'll go for another 15 minutes, I think. So please get your questions in. If you have anything you want to ask at all, just get them in now, and I'll try and get through them. I'm reaching the bottom of the chat now. It's like everybody's having a back and forth. The body will reset itself after 3 days of fasting. Keely, I'm not doing anything. Okay. Yeah, like I said, guys, I'm sat in the car with a bush between me and the modem, so it's probably just because I'm too far away from the house. That's all. But I can't get any closer. It's as close as I'm allowed to get with the bush and the tree in the way. No, I don't have a small car, unfortunately. So this is the best I'm gonna get. A lot of people having blood problems this day and age, are they? I didn't know that. With greatest respects, but in seriousness, do you think this condition could be a spiritual attack? Seems too ironic that the Nephilim researcher ends up with with this blood condition. Well, they call this condition the curse of the Celts. Okay, um, it's predominantly, although not only there are outliers, but predominantly it's a white person's problem. It's a Northern European problem. It's a Celtic problem. And I'm as Northern European as it gets. Okay, I'm as pale as you can get, right? Um, and therefore, it's not surprising that I've developed it. It just seems to be an issue extremely pale people can end up with. Along with this comes extreme rosacea in some cases, and it can lead to rhinophymas. But I don't seem to have rosacea. I've never really had it, so I don't think I'll be getting any big red noses. But another side effect of the Celtic curse is some people have this issue with breaking down iron in the blood, and I've got this side of it all. And I don't think it's a spiritual attack because it's hereditary. I think it's a genetic corruption that has just I have the unfortunate um luck to have developed, to have gotten from my genealogy. Um, it's hereditary. It's not something you catch. So I don't think it's a spiritual attack. No. I think it's just an inevitable part of existing in this world, unfortunately. Everything in this world is in a constant state of decay. This world is fallen and corrupt, and bad things happen to your body here. It's a natural part of the process that cannot be avoided, unfortunately. Which is why we are to keep our eyes in things after this world, um, and not try and hold on to the fleeting sand through our fingers that this world basically is. Enjoy this while you have it. Learn from it. You can have joy and happiness here in its moments. But it's like the Buddhists say, they were onto something. Life is suffering. You know? And what you have to do is accept that with good humor and faith and get on with life. And there's not really much you can do about it. And that's where I stand with this. I wouldn't think it's demonic attack personally, um, because this is all to do with DNA. I just have a broken genetic code. I got both the genetic markers from my parents, which switched off my body's ability to break down iron. That's basically it. Um, and it's if Keely has the other part of the gene, it's possible my son might have it, but if she doesn't, then he won't. It's sheer random luck to have for both my parents to have come together to have these two different genes that when they come together they create this. Um, it could just it you could not everyone gets it. Some people do, some people don't. I just drew the unfortunate short straw on the genetic lottery there. So there's nothing I can do about it. I don't feel like it's demonic attack. Um, and thankfully, I'm thanking God that we found it early, and I can get something done before any serious damage gets done. So it's good news that we found it early. I'll take that. Unfortunately, I love venison, says Mystery. Yes, Mystery has it. He understands what I'm talking about. I'm sure he can appreciate what I'm saying here. I can't even watch this. It's buffering the whole time. He must not have got permission for this stream. Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry it's so bad. And according to this, apparently it's about to show you an ad in 20 seconds. It's telling me these type of things now, which it never used to. I think there's been an update. I'm sorry for the ad that's about to come your way. I'll apologize in advance if you're about to get one in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Yeah, you're about to get an ad. I'm sorry about that. There we go. So if you didn't get an ad and you're still with me, congratulations, but some people just got an ad. Anyway, I rarely have animal products anymore, and when I do, I sweat heaps in my sleep and I get a skin rash. Interesting, Nick. Yeah, it sounds like you have some sort of issue there with meat as well. the animals we consume are jabbed with all sorts of shit unless you hunt game. That is true. Specifically, American meat, I do believe, has a particular gruesome process behind it. Yeah. Um. Right. I'm gonna catch up to the. Weren't they? I had a good time with. I like it when there's a few of us. You know, when it's not just me and one other person. I like it when there's like a crew, a team behind the whole thing. Because we end up bouncing off each other loads of ideas every time I have those type of conversations. So I'm quite happy about that, to be honest. Yeah, yeah, it was a good talk. I enjoyed talking with the guys. Um, it's like a lot of people have dropped off viewing this right now. Maybe they were sick of the connection problems. I don't know. But it looks like my connection's gone back up according to this, and then back down. Never mind. Okay. Like I said, I'm gonna be rounding this off in about 5 minutes times anyway. So let's see what's going on. Jar Jar is not fake. It's not fake. I've done it myself. Pork doesn't sweat, and all the toxins stay in the meat. It's why they're not clean. Interesting. We're not designed for cow's milk. I've just started some kind of discussion here about dietary needs. What can I say? Pork is bad. I agree with you, Wendy. Lacto vegetarian means no meat, fish, or eggs, but milk products. How to get a closed aura? Okay, I don't know about that. Eat beef bacon. It's delicious. That does sound delicious. Funnily enough, I'm actually in America. I know 5 6 months time, so I'm going to look forward to trying some of your food stuffs over there. I hear you guys are particularly vivacious with your high fatty products, so I'm looking forward to trying them. I'm not saying pork is toxin free. No, sadly they are atheists. I don't know what that's about. It's only the medical industry would tell you that though. True. Um, RH factor, have any theories? I think everyone has some kind of theory about the RH factor, don't they? I'd have to go into a whole episode about that one day, I think. Are you still leaning towards us being in Satan's little season? And this is again a to coin a term a friend of mine online told me and uses that I agree with. This is the shelf of wonder stuff. This is one of those things that I love speculating about and thinking about, but I just don't know if it's true or not. But I certainly put it on my shelf of wonder and gaze up at it every now and then and think, what if? I don't know. I honestly don't know. Because when I started the whole truther stuff and got into the Christian angle, I was there thinking, like the revelations is coming to pass, and end times is here and Jesus is about to return. I was on that kind of hype. But I do feel like the little season stuff shifts that perspective in a very positive way for us. And not in a way where, I feel like I'm ignoring the truth or something. But actually, no, it answers a lot of questions for me. And it explains a lot about the corruption that we've had to deal with and the lies and the fear mongering that's gone on in the truther culture. So, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it's true or not, but I'm certainly not going to stop speculating about it. Absolutely not. Um, Yeah, guys. Apparently, according to my stream health now, it's extremely good, and I'm getting like 10 megabits upload speed per second, which is quite high. It doesn't seem to be dropping off anymore either. So I think the quality's just randomly improved for no reason. So hopefully it shouldn't be dropping off anymore. Um, but yeah, I'm going back to the top here. Hey boss, do you think these clowns are naturally looking that way, or just use it for their identifying garb? Do you think they will be able to mask themselves to look normal, hiding in plain sight? Okay, so the old school firstborn giant Nephilim are the ones that looked the most like clowns. As they had their own children with human women, and then their children's children had children with human women, and lesser, smaller, petty Nephilim were created, I think they started to look a little bit different, and that's where you get variations coming in. But generally speaking, the white skin, red hair does seem to have stuck most common with every iteration. It's likely that anyone who has any Nephilim within them today, if that even is the case, looks more human than anything already. It's very watered down. So but if you are channeling the dead spirits of those ancient ones, then yes, you want to look as clownish as possible because that's how they did look at that time. That's basically the closer to hybrid between serpent, fiery angel, gods, and women you go. You know, the original Nephilim, the more clownish the features, is what I would say. My wife says, I'm just back to say I don't think I have the gene. I can just feel that I don't. You probably don't. Yeah, you probably don't. I think you would have known by now. Um, were you ever a Star Trek fan? You should look at Q and its immortal prankster qualities. Also relate that to Q, AI, and simulation theory. Yeah, I'm aware of Q. Yeah, yeah, the ever recurring immortal god prankster thing that just turns up every now and then on the Enterprise and just messes with people. Yeah, I remember that. Is it Enterprise or was it Voyager? I can't remember which one it was. But I do remember that character. I used to watch it a lot with my dad growing up. So I do remember that. Yeah, Q was an interesting one. There was a whole episode in Deep Space Nine, wasn't there, about them getting trapped in an AI simulation of a circus world run by a clown, and that he was an evil dictator of a sorts who was trying to keep them trapped there. So yeah, there are always hints to this somewhere in media, especially. Uh, Or will still get the ad revenue if you're on YouTube Premium. Yeah, this is the thing. Like, if my videos get demonetized, which is more often than not these days, especially with live shows. Let me just check now. In fact, I bet this live show has already been demonetized and it hasn't even finished. And this is what happens. They demonetize them straight away now, rather than giving them a chance. And then what I do is I request a review, and then 3 days later, after the video has had thousands of views, do they monetize it and allow me to get the ad revenue? But they don't allow me to get any ad revenue from the past few days. None of those views count. And by that point, no one's watching it, so I make no money. That's how they do it. They're really sneaky and sly about it. Let me just check. I mean, look, this one has not been demonetized, guys. That's a change. That is a change. For example, I did the Alien Addict podcast, which was mentioned earlier. That was instantly demonetized. I put in the request on the 25th, I think it was, or the 26th. And only this afternoon, 72 hours later, after 4,000 views, did they monetize it. So I've made no money off that video, even though it's got 4,000 views. That realistically should have earned me about £30. And that's £30 I will never see now. So that's my time at the end of the day that I put into that. That's work for me that I don't get paid for. But the gall of YouTube, the absolute nerve of these fascists, right, is that they will still run ads on my video that they have deemed not suitable for ads. Right? And they'll make the bloody money from it and will give me nothing. They'll tell me your video is not suitable for advertisers, and they will still run adverts on it. Okay? That's how cheeky YouTube truly is. Okay? But if my video does get demonetized and you are a premium member, just by actually watching my videos, I get revenue. So if you're a premium member, thanks for watching. I still get paid either way. Right, so there you go. It's not a lot of money, but it's the principle that counts. It's the principle of the matter. It's like, don't tell me my video is not eligible for ad revenue and then still run adverts on it anyway for yourself, you cheeky sods. That's basically how this works. It's the bloody gall. It's the principle of the matter. That's how I feel about it. But that's just the world we live in, isn't it? What can I say? We're going to Florida, guys, says my wife. Yes, we are. We're going to Florida. It's going to be good fun. I'm looking forward to being in America. It's going to be my first time. Florida has better weather for sure, says Armor Up. Yeah, certainly. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how I'm going to handle it, a white European boy in Florida. Beware the Florida man. Ooh. I'm not gonna lie. I am most looking forward to going to a shooting range and firing some guns. I don't know. We just don't have that here in the UK. And I did have an air rifle growing up. I used to go air rifle shooting in the Lake District, shooting targets on a farm range. But a gas powered air rifle firing tiny little 2 pellets is not the same as firing a gunpowder filled, copperhead, whatever it's made, bullet. It's not the same, is it? And I am looking forward to going to a gun range and shooting some guns. It's the man inside of me, the testosterone inside of me. I guess I don't know what it is, but I am most excited about that. That is what I'm going to be blowing all my money on: ammunition. Okay, and I'm going to have a good time doing that. There's something satisfying about hitting the target, isn't there? I just want to experience that with a real gun. What can I say? Um, I used to suffer from migraines. I'm just going to go down to the bottom of the chat now. Chris Adams, you're going to answer questions. I've answered a few questions today. I've answered quite a lot of questions, but no one's asked me any recently, and chat's all over the place. So I have to find the questions, my friend. They don't. I can't just I'm not a mind reader. I need to actually find them. Um, Drunk wedding photographer. I'll hit you up with the dates privately, shall I? When we're gonna be there. I don't want to make a big thing of it. I don't want the weirdos finding out, and chasing me down. But because the internet's a terrifying, scary place full of crazy people. But yeah, if I would like to hit up with the people I trust and know. So if you are in the Florida area, and you would like to meet up, possibly, maybe, then get in touch. And obviously I have to know who you are. I'm not just going to say it to any randomer. Yeah, let's meet up. That's not what's going to happen. All right. But drunk wedding photographer, definitely. Yeah, we definitely. If you're in the area, we'll definitely like to meet you guys. For sure. Tried other options like swearing at it and telling. I don't know what you're talking about there, coincidence theorist. Sorry. Um, Here in Arizona, we can conceal carry without a permit. We go to the desert to shoot it. It's a good time. That's what I'm saying. I wish we could do that stuff. Go hog hunting in Florida. I don't want to go hunting. I don't want to go killing anything. I just want to shoot some targets. I'm happy just to do that. What do you think of this line? Upon the third day, you will command that the waters should be gathered in the seventh part of the earth. Well, I'm guessing that means the seventh of the earth's water will be removed on the third day. I'm guessing that's what that meant. Ronald McDonald, Nephilim. Ronald McDonald is a caricatured image of a Nephilim, but was also used as a mascot for a corporation called McDonald's, if you want to get specific. My story matches too in that they started harassing me when I tried to get clean. Yeah, that tends to be what happens if you try and quit drugs. The demons will, well, try and hurt you and stop you from doing that. Hey, Paul, Saji is from Florida. Oh, cool. Excellent. Um, Oi, mate, you got a license for wanting to play with Pew Pew? Yeah, I know. We do all sound like cockneys, don't we, from the UK? Um, you got a license for that? We do need a license for everything here. It's ridiculous. We're taxed up the wazoo. Are you aware of the Ronald McDonald House? I am. Yes, the living arrangements for parents who have children in hospitals. Certainly, that's what it's for. But it's obviously some kind of weird thing going on, isn't it? If it's for the kids and it involves clowns, absolutely. How does Sasquatch tie in? Do you feel there are leftover remnants of Nephilim or merely unknown beings? I think all cryptid phenomena is a result of Nephilimified humans who corrupted their own DNA just before and after the flood, from knowledge taught to them by the angels, who were no longer willing to mate with human women to corrupt humans' flesh, but instead teach mankind to corrupt their own flesh instead. A lot of these cryptids are the remnants of the ones that survived the flood and also were corrupted after the flood. And the Nephilim were a different thing. The Nephilim were strictly the creation of angels mating with human women. I was just joking about needing a license for even thinking about things. Not your not your accent. I know you weren't. I know you weren't S90. Don't worry. I did not take anything to heart or personally there. Don't you worry. Uh, QB or QuickBooks says, candy is a law. Sugar makes the medicine go down. Sure. Do you know about the Tower of Babel and the curse to be like apes and elephants? I've heard that before, yeah, and I think there were some humans who were turned into weird hybrid monster creatures as a punishment. Certainly, I think a lot of weird stuff happened during that time period. Just after the flood, there was definitely some genetic changes going on too. And Nimrod himself became like a Nephilim. He became a Gibborim. He did something to himself to be like a Nephilim creature. But he was actually a human. He was from the son lineage of Cush, right? Was it Cush? Ham and Cush? I don't know. I'm blanking. Yeah, I think it was though. So yeah, he was a direct descendant of Noah, but he did something to himself, didn't he, to become a mighty man, and then to become the king of Babylon. Um, and obviously then he had Semiramis as his wife, who gave birth to Tammuz, and it became this unholy trinity. He made himself as a god. He tried to build a tower to heaven. All sorts of crazy stuff was going on. I believe genetic corruption was going on then as well. I think the Rephaim, the revived dead spirits of the Nephilim, had made their way back into physical flesh somehow as well. It was mental. You come highly recommended by John Brisson too. He's a bit far north of Florida for meetups. Yeah, yeah. John Brisson's cool. I liked being on his podcast. Nice guy. Recommended to me by Jesse Spots. Funnily enough. Right, I am not gonna carry on with the chat now. It seems to be devolving into something a little bit strange, as this always seems to do. But other than that, guys, I'm gonna call it quits here. Thanks for listening to this random surprise live show. I think I can get the living room back off my wife now. I think she's done with her project, so I should be able to go back in without interrupting her. But this was just a bit of fun, guys. Just a bit of something to do. Just a bit of have a back and forth with the subscribers. Thanks for subscribing. If you are new to the channel, make sure to check this live tab more regularly. There's loads of backdated content on here for you to check on and listen to if you want to. I go into all sorts of topics in these live shows. Usually, some of them are more specific than others, as will be in the title. This one's just a loose, off the cuff, random, in the moment chat. But yeah, guys, I'm going to get going now. Thanks for listening. I'll be back with more videos soon. I have another podcast tomorrow, which will be streamed on this channel, I think at 9 p.m. UK time, which is roughly, it could be anywhere from midday to, I don't know, 5 p.m. American time. I don't know. It depends where you are on the East or West Coast. But yeah, guys, make sure to subscribe, make sure to comment, make sure to like. That really helps me with the algorithm. Strange chat, you talk about the Nephilim, for fuck's sake. Yeah, I know, don't get me wrong, but sometimes the chat can then devolve into racial stuff, and that's where I've got to start calling it quits. You understand, the algorithm does not allow it. But yeah, guys, like I said, I'll be in the podcast game again tomorrow night, so check out that one. I'll also be releasing some more videos at the start of next month. The next episode of the Nephilim Look Like Clowns will be ready early next month as well. And make sure when that comes out to share that one, like that one, comment on that one, boost it up, get it out there. Hopefully we can get ourselves another 150,000 viewed video, which is what we want for this theory, isn't it, guys? Let's get it out there. Anyway, I'm going to get going. Thanks for listening.